It's gonna be like
Okay, I think we're live now, guys.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Eric here at LiveAquaria, and I have a very special guest with me, Mr. Viral Surati from Cobalt Aquatics. And today we're going to talk to you about, we're going to show you 2 of the 4 new C-Vue Aquariums that LiveAquaria will be exclusively offering to everybody at home, should you want one. Viral is here to
thanks for having me.
Chime in and give us some of the details and specs on the aquarium, so feel free to send your questions in and we'll answer them as we can. But why don't we start off with this one. This is our latest reef build. It's the 40-gallon C-Vue with the C-Ray 200 light on top of it.
So this is a pretty awesome tank. I think as a coral or a saltwater person, this is the tank to have without getting overly into things. You know, this is basically put in your office or just general aquarium that somebody doesn't want to make a science project out of it. It does everything for you. That's a cool thing about it. So, and also it has the C-Ray light, which we just launched on it, which is pretty nice. Fully controllable Wi-Fi, all the bells and whistles. And there's a lot of internal components on this guy, the C-Ray, that really are not available today until we came out with them. Just little things like fans that are dual fans versus one big fan to reduce noise, and copper heat sinks and things like that that really you don't appreciate till you actually have them in your home. And my wife would say, "Hey, what's that humming all the time in the aquarium?" Well, it's probably the fan or something like that that just kind of chinched out on. So very cool stuff that we do.
Yeah. It's a very sexy light. You were talking about the fans. Tell us about what's unique about these fans as far as the draw from the top and the exhaust out the side. Sure. And why you guys did that.
Sure. So as you know, with the saltwater aquarium, most people like them keep an open top. Well, eventually you get a little bit of salt spray and the fans pick up on it, and then it starts putting it into internal components. So what we do is we actually have the fans first turn off and on when they're needed, so they're temperature controlled, so they're not always running. The second thing is they pull in from the top and blow out on the sides, so you actually don't have salt creep coming in from the sides and ruining the components inside. The other cool thing about we call the cooling system of this being a 200 watt, it puts a lot of heat out, but it's how we manage that heat is super important. Ours is equipped with copper heat sinks. Well, what's the value of a copper heat sink? Well, it goes back to the simple things like noise. Well, if we don't use copper heat sinks, the conductor of, let's say, aluminum, which most of the companies out there use, it actually makes more noise because you need to have a bigger fan, because the conducting of the removal of heat, it takes a little bit more effort. So we split the fans, plus we use higher grade fans, plus copper heat sinks. So little things like that, you know, it's a lot of the tanks and a lot of things that we do, and we don't notice until you start using the product. And that's usually what we try to do, is think that out before you even get it and say, oh, why was that done? Now we know why it's done, because we want to make sure you enjoy the aquarium and not worry about how things are made. It just works, and that's what we try to do.
It does. So. And this is a great light, and also it's Wi-Fi controllable. We'll have Viral give you a demo on that in a second here. But why don't we touch a little bit more about the light? I know we've got some quartz lenses on here.
Yep.
Let's talk about PAR, everything the fish geeks want to know at home.
Yeah, so the other thing that we want to do something innovative whenever possible. So when we look at a light, what are the things we're looking for in a light? Well, one of them obviously is good Creed LED lights, full spectrum, fully controllable spectrums. As you can see, these are all touch controls right there. But back to the light, the lens is a quartz lens at a 120-degree angle. Well, what is the benefit of that? Well, you don't really need to know that unless you got a 4-foot tank and you have, let's say, a light today, maybe 90 degrees. 90 degrees does about a 36-inch tank. So what we said is, why do you need 2 lights to do what one light can do if we just adjust the optics? So that's kind of the cool thing about it. So that's what you see. Also in the light, within the light itself, is you'll notice that this blue ring right here. Well, most of the lights out there have this, I call it lasers. So you have these blue lights that kind of penetrate and you get spotting. Well, that's not really aesthetically pleasing to the eye. So what we do is our lights, or the moon lights, are actually more of an ambient light that kind of puts it out everywhere, not hot spots it. So that's kind of different than what's out there.
A nice subtle dispersion.
Exactly.
So, and again, back to that spread. If you had a 48-inch tank, this light could do that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And just as a standard, it's about a 500 par per 12 inches. Each side is 100 watts, fully controllable, obviously both sides. You can upload your own programs, you can do all that yourself. The one thing that is also different on this light compared to any on the marketplace is a little fill bar. I don't know if you can get that in there. So what's cool about that is when we do a lot of blue light, which a lot of corals like and a lot of people want in their lighting, well, you get this blue that kind of is harsh to your eye. But what this is almost a daylight that you can use all the blue you want and still get the coral popping, but this will blend it in and make the corals pop, but make it pleasing to your eye, which nobody does as well. So it's kind of cool how, and that can be controlled independently with the 6-channel controllability of this light as well.
So it just adds to a great aesthetic.
Right, right. And just, you know, we do the basic things. Out of the box, it's a 90-day warranty, but if you register it, it goes for 1 year. Very unique. It comes with the hanging kit initially as a introductory promotion. On this one, obviously, we have the arm. The arm is controlled up and down and front to back, so most are pretty much rigid. This one has a flexibility, depends on the tank size and depth, to be able to adjust it. So.
And what's nice about this arm too, on the clamp, is this a silicone or rubber boot?
Yep, exactly. So as most people would know, is you try to eliminate any metal touching your tank with the water, and it's a chance of conducting electricity. Well, what we do is we have this boot that just goes and prevents it. So if the water level ever gets that high, you're not going to have water touching the metal, which could potentially be a problem. So
I've got a question here, Viral. Sorry, it's from Nicholas, and it says, how many lights would I need for a 250-gallon tank? And I guess, Nicholas, that probably depends on the length of the tank, but again, this light would cover 48 inches.
Correct. So one of the questions that you, on your side, Nicholas, you have to kind of think about is what I want to do with the light. Is it for just ambient light for just having a nice light for a big tank, which 250 is a good size aquarium? What kind of corals am I going to grow? Is it fish only? Is it soft corals? So figure all that out and then look at the par requirements you require. So technically you can get away with 2 lights as a general rule of thumb, but if you're looking for high intensity lighting for certain types of corals, you want to use minimum of 3. So that's the other part you want to keep in mind. Now some of the people also can turn this light sideways with the hanging kit. So if you need a tank that's pretty deep, front to back, it's 48 inches or 36 front to back, you can stack them sideways and still have enough light. And obviously you need more lights then. So really dimensions is key, figuring out for yourself.
So Viral, before we do our Wi-Fi demo, why don't you tell us about the controls and how you can lock them out in case you bump them while you're doing tank maintenance?
So as you can see, just like any light, as I do maintenance or anyone does maintenance, typically when you put your arm in and you touch any of the light, these parameters can change. So we have a locking feature on this that basically you just touch this and it unlocks it, and then you can control the light however you want. So if I started messing with this light, and let's say, and now you can see the fill light actually really nice. So if I started messing with this light, what the light will do is say, hey, is someone trying to program me? And as you see, I just bumped it and turned it off and on. What it will do is after a few minutes, it'll set itself back to the program that's in its memory bank to do all what it needs to do. So it knows what to do. The other cool thing about it is, I don't know if you noticed, but when you turn the light off and on, it ramps up. See,
nice and gradual.
Yep, and a couple reasons why. One is you don't want to shock the animals, including corals. And the other thing is, if you happen to have that light upside down and you're messing around and you accidentally touch something, this is 200 watts. You will blind yourself for a while, or even potentially hurt yourself on, permanently. So you got to be
spots
careful.
for the day.
Yeah, exactly. So, but everything's controllable here in 20-degree increments. So you can basically go here and say, hey, I want to control the blues and go up and down. I want to control the light bar up and down. The blue lights, the moon lights. So everything's controllable. And then if I don't set it as a permanent setting, this will go back to the original setting. So you don't have to, so it'll default into what you program into it.
Very cool. Well, let's give everybody at home a little demonstration with the Wi-Fi controller.
Sure. So here's my phone, obviously, and basically what you do is you go into your Wi-Fi setting, and you can see the C-Ray. You connect it to the C-Ray, and once it's connected, as you can see over there, then you can go back to my C-Ray light, and basically everything's done for you already. So I can control everything from home. It tells me all the percentages. Right now it's obviously 320, 30% blue, red, etc. 40% of the blue moonlights are on, etc. I can go into effects, and this is always a fun part of Christmas. You have the storm and stuff. This is most of the time people won't use, but it's there, you know, just as...
These are for parties. These are entertainment.
Yeah, exactly. So if you're throwing a rave, you can use this, flip it against the wall, and have a good time.
These are bragging rights.
Yeah,
here.
exactly. But the more important thing is, you know, with the C-Vue, we're really designed to be seamless. So you can actually purchase a C-Vue tank and then say, hey, you know what, I'm keeping corals in here. I can just click on the C-Vue setting and look at it. And there you go. So I can go in there and demo it up to wherever I want, and it gets set to it.
So it works off of 24 hours. It's hard to see, but you can see it's from 0 to 2400.
Yep. And this app is available on Apple Store and on Android, so you can just go get it. It's a Cobalt LED.
Okay.
The key to any app is how simple it is to use. And the other cool thing about the app itself, is to go back here real quick, is I can go into manual setting. So we have 6 channels. And the cool thing about 6 channels is I can go in there and control whatever I want. I'm not connected to it right now. Oh, I am connected to it. So I'm controlling, here's maxed out, which will burn coral, so we don't want to keep this for too long.
That is bright.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do is zero everything out. As you can see, it's showing me the color patterns that I'm doing. But I'm going to walk you through one at a time so you kind of get an idea of the colors that it can bring. So we're going to do just the moonlight. That's 100% moonlight. Now if you look at it, very ambient. And we have a glass top on this, so it shows a little bit bounce back on it. But
let's take this off so we don't glare anybody at home.
So if you're at home and this is evening, this would give a nice, gentle moonlight to the tank where it's not laser or spotted. It's the second one. I'm going to turn the blue off now. I'm going to go to the fill light. That's that one in the middle. So this is just the fill light, which is a daylight. So if you look underneath, you can see that's on.
Definitely a warmer spectrum to balance out all the blue and the cool
exactly.
tones.
So you know, like blue blockers. Blue blocker glasses are yellow, right? So that's what basically what this is. So you can control that. Then you can go into everyone's favorite.
There you go.
Your favorite color. So this is a UVB kind of light, ultraviolet light, so to speak. And obviously, oh, sorry. Let me decline that call.
That's what's live, man.
Yep. So this gives you the spectrum and what we're doing here. And then I can turn that to 0, and I can go into the... Now look at the coral. I mean, the greens just pop. But, you know, I can always play around with it and throw the yellow into it, and so on. So all this is just available pretty simply. 6 channel, which is kind of cool. And I'm going to turn that one off now. I'm going to go with all blue.
Wow. That's great.
So the cool thing about the blue is I'll go back to that fill light when I was talking about. So you can see some of the corals pop in pretty well. This one specifically, if you check that out. But what I'm going to do is throw in a little bit of daylight in there. Now you see you still have the glow, but you don't have that blue harsh that you want. And that's not even 100%. Now it's 100%.
So literally you have endless light combinations and settings.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, the biggest question, this is an $800 light. And people always ask the question, why is this light $800? Well, it's all the little things that add up. Do you want to do something the right way? Or there's plenty of lights for other, you know, applications that they don't care if it's not going to be visible, or want the controllability, or this light will last for years as long as you don't get it wet, and it's typically the big key, and it just works. I mean, that's at the end of the day, you want things to work You know, some people are aqua engineers and they want to be an aqua engineer. That's okay. But this, you know, but that's that light. So that's a blue, and this is just a plain white light. Is 100%. So, but you know, we can get more into the app and stuff later. I mean, this can go on and on. I could sit here for hours playing with this.
But the other thing is too, you can share these with another hobbyist.
Good point.
Right?
Thanks for bringing that
up.
up.
Come up with something you like, or
yeah. So if we go into programs, obviously we have standard, LPS, SPS, C-Vue. Which so if you have a C-Vue, you just press that button and it'll start the best one for this size tank. The other cool thing is we can do plant tank. You know, with the capability, the technology's gone so far that no longer need a freshwater light and a saltwater light and a fish only light. You have the ability to control every part of it. So that's kind of cool.
Dial it up on your phone.
Dial it up. And then the cool thing is say, hey, I am an aqua engineer and I know better. You can actually just create your own. So this is one I made up earlier. And let's say it works great and I'm happy with it. I can upload it into my system. And one of your buddies comes over who has the awesome light, the C-Ray, and says, you know what, your corals really grow well. I have a similar size tank. I want to borrow what you did so you can actually upload what your friend is doing on your phone, go home and download it to your light, which is kind of cool. And one light or one program can hold up to control 6 lights. Wow. And the cool thing about it is you share the same program with all 6 lights and they're exactly the same. You know, this includes everything inside it, so there's no extra reef link or anything extra you have to buy.
Okay.
It's already there.
It's great.
Out of the box, is ready to rock and roll. The only option is the bracket, and right now it includes the hanging kit already with it. So,
so again, for those of you just joining us, I have Mr. Viral Surati here from Cobalt Aquatics.
Hey.
We're kind of unveiling 2 of the 4 new C-Vue aquariums that are being sold exclusively through LiveAquaria.com. Viral, let's talk about the filtration on this.
Sure.
Just what makes these tanks so unique.
So you just remove the optional piece of glass top that is an option. One thing we do is we don't think what you need is best for you. We want you to kind of build and customize this tank yourself. So everything that we do around this is basically, hey, we give you the basics and you go ahead and tweak it or customize it to what you want to do. We include 2 micron socks, so they're 200 microns. You notice the unique shape of that micron sock. It's for 2 purposes. You notice that it doesn't splash because it's a one side's flat. So that's kind of cool. And the second is, it's just salt creep is always a problem with a saltwater tank. So how do we minimize that? Well, we minimize it by having less splashing of any water movement. So that's what's cool about it. So that's pretty neat. It comes with a pump. This one happens to have 2 pumps, so the smaller ones have 1 pump. This turns the tank, it's a 565 gallons.
Yeah, each pump does 265 gallons, so times 2, yeah, you're turning this tank over, you're doing well over 500 gallons an hour.
Right. So if you don't have to have it at that level. So some people have a fish-only tank or a planted tank. You can dial those down a little bit and have less flow if you want. So, and the other cool thing, back to the micron socks that a lot of people may not think of, is we design these socks to be able to put media into them. So, hey, on this side, I'm going to use an organic remover. I don't want a protein skimmer in this tank because noise, maintenance, etc. So which we're launching shortly, by the way, so we'll have all sorts of media products. We're doing it all. So once we have those, you just pour them into here. So one side could be carbon, one side could be some sort of phosphate remover or whatever you want. And when you want to clean it, you just drop it, pull it out,
great.
Rinse it, and you're done.
So yeah, you wouldn't have to put carbon or your biomedia in here.
Nope.
You're saving this space for calcium reactor or protein skimmer.
Anything you want.
Whatever.
Yep.
That's great.
And easeability, the flexibility, and little things on the tank, we can get into as well.
Well, the other thing about these tanks, and this is all 4 of these tanks, whether it's 18, 26, 40, or 45 gallon, they all come, they're 3-sided, low iron glass. They have this beautiful 45-degree mitered edge. I'm sure Ian can get a look at that. And the other thing about these tanks too that Viral told me about is if you do like to drill tanks, the back panel and the bottom are not tempered, so they are drillable.
Correct. So that goes back to the customizability of this tank is, hey, I know, I want to tie this into my big reef tank, and I want to use this for my special fish or my special inverts that I want to really watch. Well, in a big tank, things get lost, right? So you can actually connect this up to another tank where you can drill this, the back or the bottom, and drill it yourself, and you connect it up, or you want a wet dry filter, whatever you want to do, this can do it for you. So it's kind of neat.
It's great. It's great. And obviously they come with their stand.
Yep. It's a RTA stand. Oh, by the way, since you opened the stand up, you notice that power supply there for the C-Ray light. That's waterproof.
Oh, that's great.
So if you ever have water spill, which is always always a problem, that you don't have to worry about that getting water in it and ruining things. You do have to worry about this getting wet, of course. It's like any light.
Yep.
So, but that's pretty neat. The stand is RTA, and most people, can anyone guess what RTA means?
It's soft closed doors.
Yeah,
So
soft closed doors are nice.
for all the freshwater enthusiasts out there, let's touch a little bit on, we've got the 26 gallon here. And again, same thing, 3 sides, low iron glass. And these tanks, these kits come without lights.
Correct.
Because we're
Correct.
talking about versatility and customability.
So on this one, obviously it's a planted tank. This one has some options that doesn't come with it. One is the glass tops is one, and the other is this Kirk USA lighting. So we're using plant-capable LED lights for this unit that you can pick whatever light you want, but obviously this is the best application for this one. And also the glass tops come with this awesome little back cover, so you don't have to look at the filter anymore if you don't want to as well. But yeah, I mean, it's limitless. Whatever you want to do, it's available. Back to the RTA stand. What RTA stands for is ready to assemble.
If there's IKEA shoppers out there, I'm sure they know what RTA is.
Right. So we have many different colors of stands, as long as you like black. So it's only available in black. So pretty much, these are probably one of the nicest tanks. I mean, I've seen. I mean, looking at this tank over here, I'm not a saltwater guy, but I think I want to keep a tank. Like, that's beautiful.
It's a great tank, and it provides a great amount of surface area. And like we said, we've got plenty of room in back, lots of filtration going on there.
Exactly. Well, thanks for having me. Any questions or anything else? I mean, is there anyone asking questions on?
I don't know. What kind of questions do you have?
Otherwise, in the very near future, you can see we've got 2 videos coming out with Viral in them, and we talk about the builds of the 26 and the 40 gallon tank. And again, these tanks are being offered exclusively on LiveAquaria.com. And of course, you can fill those tanks with all the fish from LiveAquaria.com that you want to buy.
Right. Great.
Great, yeah.
Excellent.
Well, thanks for having me, and we'll see you guys later.
All right.
All right, until next time, everybody, you know those 3 words: feed, siphon, repeat. Thanks for watching.